fans. Welcome to the Who Universe a Doctor Who news video for all of you. And I know the first thing we need to address. Well, let's put it this way: there was this conversation that became a rumor. Jingzi Musa, who's going to be the villain for the Devil's Core, as it's been pretty much confirmed now that she is pretty much the villain for that story. That will be on BBC iPlayer the day of the 10 well, the BBC One broadcast of Space Babies. They're going to have the first two episodes out that night, that day. A lot of people, yeah, because they confirmed the name in a magazine recently called Mastero, that many people thought, okay, this is the return of the Master. Well, Russell has, well, interestingly enough, they had a season one premiere screening the other day, and Russell was actually asked this question, and he was kind enough to actually confirm the Master is not returning. So let's make this clear: the Master is not coming back in this season. If you were thinking that the Master was going to show up, nope, this is not who the Junsin Moose's character is going to be. It's going to be a completely different character, nowhere close to the Master. In fact, in the Russell's words, the Master is parked, as he's put it. Pretty much saying that the Master's basically not going to be that the Master won't play a role anytime soon. So I think he's trying to give the Master a bit of a massive break, which I think is a smart move. To be fair, I mean, I know some of us like seeing the Master more, sooner rather than later, but I think, I actually wouldn't mind a bit of a break for the Master, to be fair, because he has been very consistent in the last few runs of Doctor Who. So yeah, maybe a bit of a break from him would be kind of nice to sort of mix things up a little bit. So I'm glad that he came out and said, yeah, it's part. So there'll be links in the description to the Radio Times, because they were actually there asking him this question, and luckily he was kind enough to respond to the comments. And in fact, they actually got a video of him actually confirming all of this at the press screening the other night. Now, of course, not only was Russell there, but also Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson were there. In fact, funny enough, they actually did a bus tour before the premiere the other night for two lucky winners. Well, yeah, so basically two lucky Doctor Who fans were actually invited to take part in the whole London bus tour. And I think they did like some sort of a competition where if they win, they would get this tour, and then they would also get a chance to see the first two episodes through this screening. Because yes, they did screen the first two episodes of the new series the other night, and it was really cool. They did that to give two lucky viewers the opportunity to see these episodes before they actually go out to everyone, which is really nice. And then, of course, during the press interviews, Ncuti Gatwa obviously was asked the important question about will he stick around after next year's series, because obviously recent comments he put out on SFX mentioned that he was going to take a little bit of a break in between. So a lot of people were like, oh, does this mean he's leaving? Well, luckily enough, he came out. He basically says, I'll be around for a while. You're not getting rid of me yet. It's basically what he said about his big future with showrunner Russell T Davies. So he's very, the sound of confidence right there makes me very convinced that we're going to see Ncuti for a few years, I think, considering he's very energetic about the show right now. And it definitely seems to be like he's definitely going to be involved for a few more years in Doctor Who, which is nice. So it's nice to see that he's finally, Ncuti has basically now confirmed that he's basically sticking around. He's going to be around for a while. But yeah, that just gives you a bit of a taste, and I'll leave a link in the description if you want to see the photos. They've got a little bit of video that they took from the actual screening on which they also have on the article, where they speak to Bonnie Lamford, who was also there, to obviously talk about what it was like filming the show and also seeing those episodes, which is really nice. So that's pretty cool that they had a great fun time, and the fact that they also went to BBC Television Centre in London to take photos as well, which was really nice. Now, on top of that, we did get a new Doctor Who magazine, and I will say though, the new Doctor Who magazine that came out probably probably the coolest cover I've ever seen in Doctor Who magazine ever. Personally, the coolest cover I've seen because basically the cover we've got is essentially what they've done, and it's really clever. They've actually made like a sort of like a slip cover in some regard. So they've essentially made this cover here where they show the Doctor and Millie, well, shooting at where Millie being the 15th and Ruby in their 60s outfits based on obviously Devil's Core. But they've actually got another cover which is, I believe it's somewhere. You can see they've basically made sort of like a callback to one of the Beatles covers, which I thought was really nice. Um, if I, and I'm going to show you the image here, and yeah, so you should be seeing the image as I'm discussing this here. But yeah, they actually made this really nice cover where they show like the sort of like a reimagination of one of the Beatles' early album covers, which is really, really lovely that they did that as part of the issue, which I actually kind of liked, and it's really cool looking that they've done that. So yeah, I honestly like it. I like the cover they've done here. But yeah, it's basically and also funny enough, they actually use the actors who are playing the Beatles in this cover art, which is really even though they don't necessarily look like them, you'll probably notice that they look a bit off on the photo compared to what they're supposed to look like in the photo shoot. But yeah, they try to get it right in a way, even though they might not look exactly like them, but you get the gist. It's really cool looking though. The fact that they've done like a Doctor Who magazine with the Beatles and they put the mono on the top, which is like an old phrase they used to say during in music back then, and it's just really nice that they did that as like a callback to one of the Beatles' classic albums, which is really nice. Um, Really lovely cover, obviously, and of course in this issue they actually speak to the boys who are featured in the image, who are playing John, Paul, George, and Ringo, and in fact their names are Chris Mason, George Kapler, Phil Davis, and James Holland, who are going to be playing the young Beatles. And then they're going to be having somebody playing their producer, playing the Beatles famous producer George Martin, and he's going to be played by Ed White in the Devil's Core. So they actually spoke to them about playing the famous Beatles, and obviously Ed White about playing their famous producer George Martin. And then you have Russell talking about Space Babies and Devil's Core, as well as giving us a little bit behind the scenes of Boom, written by Russell, well, by Stephen Moffat, should I say. They actually have a chance to talk about, and also they actually have a section in the Doctor Who magazine where they talk about the Beatles' appearance on the opening night of the new season as they look back at the well, they're also looking back of the relationship between the Beatles and Doctor Who over the years, because funny enough, the Beatles have had a great relationship with Doctor Who over the years. But then they also talked to Jackson Mooson about her role as the missionary in the Devil's Core. They talked to Anne Dobson about her mysterious Mrs. Flood character, even though they tried to get answers from her, but they're apparently she doesn't really give anything away, so you're not really going to know much about her until like during the series, I suppose. And they also talk about the Susan Twist conversation that's been going around all over the internet recently, which is really interesting. So I don't know, maybe there might be some new information there about who Susan Twist might actually be, but or perhaps they'll give us some clues to who she is. And then we get a letter from the showrunner with Russell talking about the recent episodes they've been filming, which is nice that they're getting regular up to date info from Russell about the making of next year's series. They're also paying tributes to Matthew Waterhouse, who played Adric. Yeah, just to name some of the stuff that they've been doing pretty much for this week's Doctor Who magazine. They've also got 2 art cards as part of this issue to celebrate the new series, which is kind of nice. So that is basically what is included in the new Doctor Who magazine, as they're heavily previewing the return of Doctor Who, as it's only 2 weeks away from returning. So they're going to have coverage based on Space Babies and Devil's Core. being the first two episodes to come out during the month of May, and I'm sure that later in the month they will be covering the next few episodes of the series. Pre-orders have finally gone out for season 1 of Doctor Who. This is the new series, the series that's coming up. In terms of its release date, however, they are saying at the moment it is planned for the 12th of August. We don't know if it's going to stick to that date, but nevertheless, this is the date that they've set so far for season 1 of Doctor Who's DVD, Blu-ray, and Steelbook case. And funny and interestingly enough, it's actually priced quite reasonable price. Actually, it's priced at £40 for the DVD and 50 for the Blu-ray right now. So it's pretty reasonable. I would imagine, obviously, it's going to be a box set release because the running time is going to be 6 hours, 10 minutes, and it's going to be a 7-disc box set. So there's obviously going to be lots of special features coming in this release. I would imagine, I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that they're going to have like trailers on the special features this year, which I have a good feeling they might do because of the fact that there's 7 discs. There might be some hope there. But then again, they might add the 60th anniversary specials. I don't know. This is the thing. I don't know whether the 60th anniversary specials count as season 1, unless I don't know. Do they count as season 1? I don't think they do. So maybe they might be adding those in there to make up for the numbers of discs, perhaps. But I feel like there's going to be more. I think it's going to be more related to special features than the 60th anniversary because, I mean, I don't think the 60th anniversaries count in this series unless I'm wrong, and they do. But I don't know. I feel like it doesn't count because of Shooty being the focus of this release. But yeah, that's how I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it as like, okay, maybe they're putting a lot more special features than they previously do when it comes to Doctor Who, which I like that because obviously Russell used to always make sure to put as many special features as he could for any of his box sets. And I really hope this means we're going to get trailers, we're going to get deleted scenes and all that jazz, video diaries. You get the gist. Hopefully we're going to get all of that from the 12th of August. And I'm definitely aiming to hopefully get myself this on the 12th of August and see what's going to happen. The Celestial Toymaker is coming. Yes, if you're somebody who's looking forward to classic Doctor Who, well, the good news is that we are going to be getting the Celestial Toymaker pretty soon because the Celestial Toymaker is going to be getting its release in for the DVD, Blu-ray, and Steelbook case. And obviously, I mean, I've already covered the special features. I mean, but again, this one's going to contain the first, all 4 episodes in animation in black and white. And then there's going to be the reconstructions, did I say? Finally got the word out. Then episode 4, the original 1996 episode, newly restored, and obviously new audio commentary for this one. And then this 2, you get all 4 episodes of the animation in color, the making of the animation, the escape room, Team First Doctor. So that's Sylvester McCoy's intro of episode 4 from the original VHS release, video diaries and PDF materials, all the jazz as part of the Blu-ray, DVD, and Steelbook cases. The Celestial Toymaker that has been set for June the 10th. The 10th of June is when you're going to be able to get your hands on the Celestial Toymaker to see the very first appearance of the Toymaker's battle with the Doctor, with the first Doctor, that is, on the 10th of June. So this will be the classic release before obviously before the new series comes out on DVD and Blu-ray, so that's going to be our next classic Doctor Who release. Will be the Celestial Toymaker coming on the Monday the 10th of June, which is kind of nice. So we've got that to look forward to pretty soon, which is going to be pretty awesome. Now we move forward. Of course, we have a new Doctor Who magazine special. They're celebrating 50 years of the 4th Doctor. Yes, Mr. Tom Baker's Doctor is now 50 years old in terms of 50 years since his first appearance, playing the 4th Doctor, and they're doing a whole special magazine to celebrate Tom Baker's journey as the Doctor and get to interview some of the guest stars and all the companions some of the companions who worked with him and basically just looking back at some of his moments as the Fourth Doctor on telly, as well as a timeline of the Fourth Doctor's televised journey, and all of that is going to be available as part of this special magazine for Doctor Who magazine, which is actually going to be shipping from the 2nd of May. So from next week, you'll be able to get your hands on this Doctor Who magazine special celebrating the Fourth Doctor, celebrating his 50 years as the since the first appearance of Tom Baker. And then there's a new real-time video that's also a real-time pictures DVD release coming called The Monster Man, who's looking at all different monsters, including basically British classic sci-fi creatures, which also includes Doctor Who, of course. And yeah, it's basically a long-time fan, Neil Collin, who's basically looking at the Museum of Classic Sci-Fi to create his sort of museum based on all the different monster villains from films and TV shows, which obviously Doctor Who is a part of that category. So you can get your hands on that on Time Travel TV if you want to see his progress in terms of looking at sci-fi monsters. So that is something that's on the way. And then on top of that, we've also got we've got 3 audio dramas and hard books based on basically some new audio dramas and hardcovers for the 15th Doctor, which are going to be Ruby Red, Eden Rebellion, and Caged are going to be the first 3 of the 15th Doctor's audio dramas, along with which are also going to be hardcovers that you're going to be able to get this summer, and they're going to start rolling those out in August. So yes, the audio CD release is going to start rolling August the 1st for Ruby Red, and I believe that's for all of them. It's going to be out on the 1st of August. Well, okay, so they're sort of spreading them out throughout the course of the year, so you can see when you want to get your hands on the 15th Doctor's first set of hardcovers and audio dramas that they're going to be releasing throughout the course of the remainder of the year, if you want to celebrate the 15th Doctor's arrival in audio as well as hardcover, which is nice. And then on top of that, there is also a production diary looking at the Hartnell years of Doctor Who, which is just I believe it started to roll out, and it's written by David Brent, who's basically a Doctor Who's historian, looking at basically the history of how Doctor Who began with Hartnell playing the first Doctor, and asking some very interesting questions at the same time, which is really interesting. So you'll be able to sort of understand what really happened at the time, which is really interesting. And it's going to be coming out on the 10th of May. For those who are interested to know what happened behind the scenes in terms of the production of Doctor Who during the Hartnell years, during the first years of Doctor Who, which is kind of nice. So that's pretty cool that they've done that. From SFX regarding what to expect from the series, this is kind of what they said. They've said some very interesting things about all the episodes, because they kind of revealed some more details about what to expect from all 8 episodes as they start rolling out from the 11th of May. So obviously they start things off by talking about Space Babies. This is the episode that's going to launch on BBC One on the 11th of May. They say that this episode is obviously going to pick up from the events that happened at the end of Churchill Ruby Road, with Ruby Sunday entering the TARDIS for the first time. The Doctor and Ruby land on a spaceship occupied by babies. Yeah, so that's that hint the name Space Babies. Very talkative for their age. A scary, slimy monster called the Boogeyman. No adults to be found. And then they mentioned that Space Babies is going to introduce the series story arc for both the Doctor and Ruby's Founderly Mystery. So apparently the series arc for the Doctor and Ruby's Founderly Mystery is going to start with the first episode, the Space Babies, that's going to go live on the 11th of May. And then they go on to talk more about Devil's Core, which is going to be the episode that will also be out on BBC iPlayer that day, but it will be transmitting on BBC One the following Saturday. They say that, and then of course, Ncuti Gatwa describes Jigsaw Mooson's character as a delicious villain. Apparently, yeah, I didn't know the villains taste so good, but there you go. Also, the Doctor Ruby obviously meet and chat with the Beatles in the episode. They are also going to be singing in the story, so there will be some singing with Shooty and Millie. And in terms of them recording the Abbey Road Studios, they actually recreated it in Wolf Studios in Wales. Surprisingly, that's what they did to recreate the Abbey Road Studios for the story, which is kind of nice. But yeah, they kind of give previews of all the episodes. But yeah, I thought I would just share the previews for the first two episodes because they're the episodes that are going to kick off the series on BBC iPlayer that day. So I thought, well, yeah, so that would be pretty cool. That they're doing that, and for the so I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested to read more about each of the episodes and what to expect from all eight episodes as they roll out from the 11th of May, which is kind of nice. And speaking of one of those episodes, Boom, which is Stephen Moffat's episode, surprisingly, they've revealed that they did the LED screen technology for this episode, which is basically the first time they're using this for Doctor Who, and it's for the Boom story. They say this is coming from obviously Doctor Who magazine that talks about it. That say that Boom has a significant first for Doctor Who, though it uses an in-camera visual effect technology to create the episode's stunning alien landscape. The technological was used extensively on productions like the Batman and Star Wars TV series, replacing the traditional screen process with a veritable bank of LD screens known as a volume, plus live camera tracking and projections are created in immersive real-time digital environment. That is pretty cool that they've done that. So that's just giving you a bit of a flavor of what to expect from Boom, the fact that they're using this new LD screen technology to bring this story to life, which I think might look really, really nice on screen. So, yeah, definitely interested to see this now that they said that they're doing this for the show. Now, of course, they also we already know that they've also announced the companion for next year's series of Doctor Who. We already know that they've announced Vanity Sapphire as the to join Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson next year. She's going to be playing obviously becoming another companion for the 15th Doctor. And interestingly, Russell does say that you couldn't ask for a better team than Ncuti and Millie to be on it. But when Russell talks about it, he says that we've got Ncuti, Millie, and Vera fighting side by side. We need all three because the stakes are higher than ever. So yeah, it looks to me like a lot of crazy things are going to be happening in Doctor Who, which is going to be pretty interesting. So yeah, all three of them are going to be needed for Doctor Who, which is going to be nice. So looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great to see how all three collide, come together in next year's series. Thought I would share that for those who are curious. Also, Roblox are bringing the Doctor and Millie, the Doctor and Millie Gibson, the Doctor and Ruby, shall I say, as well as other BBC shows to Roblox. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to see how you can get in and see all the BBC stuff that's now available on Roblox as part of BBC's Wonder Chase that's just gone out. And then also interestingly, Entertainment Weekly has also talked about the Doctor and Ruby's origins. Yeah, they talked about the origins of the that is going to spine throughout the series, and talking about the fact that story is going to spine through the whole series. So they've kind of been talking about the fact that Ncuti and Billy, the Ncuti Billy Gibson's characters are going to have a big sort of story arc that's and also the fact that Ruby Sunday is going to be important heading into next year's series. So there's obviously a lot of importance going on with Ruby Sunday, and I'll be interested to see how it all sort of kicks off within this series and how it's going to carry over into next year's series. It seems like they're going to be some stuff from this series is going to carry over into next year. At least that's how I'm seeing it. In case you haven't heard already, they are doing a Doctor Who at the Proms for which they've actually, funny enough, the date has already been set for the Doctor Who Proms in 2024. It is going to be happening. It's going to be happening pretty soon. In fact, they've in terms of the press release, they actually say this. The music of Doctor Who will return to BBC Proms this year following an extended absence from the festival. The National Orchestra of Wales will perform music corresponded by Murray Gold as the famous sequence of the longest running series played on the big screen of the Royal Albert Hall. The announcement also teases spectacular lighting, special guests, and the latter sure to get fans speculating on who could be attending. I have a feeling it's probably going to be Shooty and Millie, because it just makes sense to have the Doctor and Ruby Sunday there, because they're a part of this new era. So why not have them attend? I think that makes sense. But they also say that it's going to take place on Monday, the 26th of August at 2:30 p.m. and 7 p.m. And they have confirmed they are going to be filming the concert to be shown on BBC One Wales, BBC Two, and iPlayer later at the end of the year, autumn and winter this year. So later this year, we will get a televised version of Doctor Who at the Proms 2024, where we'll get to see the whole concert for ourselves. And obviously, conducting will be Alistair King, who will be reprising his role from the 60th anniversary's musical celebration that happened during the 60th anniversary. So that's pretty nice that Doctor Who's going to be involved in the BBC Proms, and the fact that we're going to see they're going to have a televised version later this year for those who want to see this year's Doctor Who Proms celebration. You'll be able to see a filmed version on BBC Two and BBC iPlayer later this year, for those who are wanting to celebrate the music of Doctor Who like they did back in the 60th anniversary. But with that said, thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.